I feel pretty good.
Did the fight go the way that you thought it would?
Minus the submission. I did the first round when I had their back for the whole time and I was pummeling the rear naked choke. Ideal would have been to get the choke right there. First round finish, it hit me 0 times, flawless victory. Obviously that didn't happen and got ourselves in a bit of a fight, but this is the top level and that's how it goes.
Was there anything about him that surprised you?
He's a scary dude, but when we got to fighting, I felt like my warrior spirit was denser than his, and that surprised me in the moment.
When you say he's a scary dude, is it something different than you've seen in a different opponent, or are they all kind of have that scary mentality?
You look at the guy. Yeah, he's big, physical fighter. Fights a little reckless. He carries a lot of repercussions with his power. And he's just got kind of a serious demeanor about it, But I thought Trey Ogden was a scary dude. They're all scary dudes. But yeah, I mean he's a tank, as they call him.
Did you do anything special to prepare for him?
I just train as hard as I can every day, at Marathon MMA, we're max effort all day, every day. And I believe in our training regimen. We train at a very high pace. We train hard. We train a lot. And so nothing special for this guy specifically because we're checking all the boxes all the time.
What's next? When would you like to get in there again?
I want to fight Chase Hooper. I keep calling this dude out. I'm calling him out for 3 fights. I think he's overrated. I don't think he's that good. And I want to pick some of that low-hanging fruit.
Why do you think that hasn't happened? Has he been not into it? The UFC's not into it?
I'm not behind the scenes, you know what I mean? But it should happen. So, Chase Hooper, let's get it.
How do you see that fight going?
I'll smash him easily. He's not a scary dude for a change.
Thank you.
Definitely, I can see where Chase is going to want to stand up. How would you rate his ground game, his submission game?
I'm 3 times a better grappler than him minimum. And I mean that for real. I could knock him out on the feet. I could destroy him in the grappling. And I think after this fight, maybe my grappling will start to get some serious respect after the Holloway fight and this fight. But I think that a fight against a guy like Chase Hooper where his grappling is really respected, and then you could watch how easily I could run through him in the grappling. I think that would be a great fight for me to show that to the world, to the fan base.
Is that what it's more about? Just trying to take, because I know he's fought or he's competed like in the Invitational and all of this sort of stuff, so he's kind of made a name of that. Is there anything else that makes you want to fight? It's not personal or anything. It's just about one fight again, the styles.
It's not personal. I think he has more fans than me, and I think he sucks. So I think it's an easy fight. I'm probably the best grappler in the division. I should be on Fight Pass Invitationals. I can grapple at a professional level. I really could grapple at a professional level outside of MMA. And I just want to prove that. I want to show that. So I think a kid like that is a great next step for me.
And that's awesome. If it's an invitational, ask me, that'd be something you'd be into?
100%. I'm asking right now, please, Fight Pass Invitational. I would love to get in there, and not just against some MMA fighters. I would love to be grappling at the Fight Pass things against like world-class pure jiu-jitsu guys. I think that I can compete in sport jiu-jitsu at a world-class level as well as MMA at the same time.
Congrats on the victory.
Thank you, sir.
Realistically, is there somebody in jiu-jitsu that you kind of have your eye on that you think would be a good first match?
I wish I had a better thought out answer for that because I didn't anticipate calling out any grapplers. But any of the like pure jiu-jitsu guys, like I would love to show my just pure jiu-jitsu skill against them. I think I could compete with any of them.
Question back here. How does it feel as a coach in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt to be smashing your way through the lightweight division on the ground?
It feels great. I think that like what's awesome about it is that I'm getting to show like if you're in the room with me and you're learning the curriculum that I'm teaching, that is what I'm doing in my fights. I am hitting the transitions textbook that I'm teaching and just proving the validity of the system and the grappling system we have at Marathon MMA. I humbly do believe that our grappling curriculum at Marathon MMA is years ahead of most again.
I think they mentioned it on the broadcast. Are you the head trainer there? Or?
I am the head coach and owner of that company.
How does that enhance your game and just really help you see things in a different perspective?
One of the things of being a head coach, as well as I teach the recreational members classes as well. So I teach like white belts who have no interest in competing every day. Is that I am constantly just reviewing the basics and mastering the basics. Where I think a lot of fighters at an elite level, no one's like telling them the things that are obvious anymore, and then they start to forget the things that are obvious and forget the basics and abandon the basics. And the basics win and moves fights at the highest level every day or week.
No, I totally agree because is this maybe why you see some fighters that are just great at something like a Robbie Lawler, but then he gets that knockout and you're like, oh, I'm in love with this power and I'm gonna go for that knockout every time. But you could have just won a fight using your bread and butter.
Well, I think some fighters' personality stops them from being, not him specifically, but just in general. I think some fighters' personalities maybe prevent them from becoming technicians and being studious martial artists. But I do think that when you're coaching every level of the game constantly, that you're just reviewing all levels of information all the time, so everything stays fresh in my mind, and I'm getting asked a lot of questions every day, and it causes me to rethink about something that maybe I hadn't thought about in a really long time. And it's just always so fresh in my mind. So I think that just familiarity with the information every day is something that is constantly elevating my level and just keeping me sharp. And shout out to the Mats at Marathon MMA, because they are keeping me sharper than the competition.
Yeah, for sure, man. You mentioned earlier you wanted that first round finish, that flawless victory, but it was Mortal Kombat in there in that second round because he was trying to take your head off. How did you keep it together, and what was the conversation like in between 2 and 3 when you knew you spent a lot of energy?
I spent the last 2 weeks meditating not on technique or tactics, but just on my warrior spirit. And I knew that there was going to come a moment in the fight where his warrior spirit was going to try to overtake mine and bully me. And I just had spent a lot of time deeply in my spirit over the last 2 weeks, trying to make sure that when that moment came, that I would step forward and not allow that to happen. And so when the going got going, he hit me hard a few times, and I was getting tired. He was getting tired, and we both want to win at this level. And I remember just telling myself, he can knock you out. If he knocks you out, it's fine. The only unacceptable thing to happen right now is that you quit or surrender. And so that was it. And I just kept pressing forward. And when I had that moment, when we came to that moment, and he rocked him hard a few times, and I was still there, and I hit him back, and I looked at it, and there was like an energetic exchange there, and he understood that I was here for real, and his warrior spirit stopped. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't stop trying to win, but he stopped trying to bully me in that sense. Like, he understood that he was in there with an equivalent, warrior. And I had that same moment in the Moda fight. Nicholas Moda came after me in the second round. He threw tactics to the curb. It just was like, I'm going to just try to dog Trey out. Like, and I remember that moment, and it felt like a spiritual attack, like in there. It was hard to process. It was like the one thing I took from that fight was like, I felt that moment, and I felt my spirit wanting to be like, ugh. And then all of a sudden I was like, hell no. And I like brought it back out. And right after that, he like kind of slipped, and I hit him with that 2-3-2 head kick, and he backed up, and I stepped forward, jabbed him, took him down, kneed him in the head. And it was like, all of a sudden I was like, I don't really know how to talk about these things. Some of these things that happen in there on like an energetic or almost a religious plane, and that experience of that fight made my warrior spirit denser. And that was the moment of that fight that I was most proud of. And I got to that place in the second round of this fight too, and I overcame it again. So, that's a beautiful thing, and maybe the most beautiful part of this whole journey.
Well, no, that makes sense because we hear a lot more about it. Just to talk about it for just a second, with Jerry and Alex in the rematch, talked a lot about things that are not part of what we just see. So that makes perfect sense.
There's a lot of energetic exchanges going on in there. It's and like one thing that I feel like in my journey that I've done is I've always been able to attack my opponents technically, tactically, and spiritually at the same time, like emotionally. Like, I feel like it's like, I can't really describe it, but I can like tune into their energetic frequency and like hit them on, like I'm attacking them on all kinds of planes, and some of them are invisible. You know, I kind of feel like a weirdo talking about it.
Nah, man, keep it coming. Like it makes sense. Like
That's why they call me the samurai. You know.
I know fighters are gonna just be their worst critic and beat themselves up endlessly because of it. But in a perfect world, how do you finish that submission?
And
With where you had it with the arm triangle, like it was right there.
yeah, I got to get better. Like, I have a lethal submission game. I'm getting very close to hitting these guys. I'm fighting some really good guys, and I'm dominating them, but they're surviving. And I gotta get even sharper. It was close. That arm triangle was close, and it is what it is. Yeah, I'll get better.
Excellent. Congratulations on the win, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I've just got one more for you. I forgot to ask. Did you hear the controversial interview that your opponent did about women's MMA here before?
No, tell me.
So he says he doesn't watch women's MMA, and that's when he goes to the bathroom or eats snacks.
So that feels like a setup.
I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
I love women's MMA.
Thank you.
Right?
I don't do it, so it wouldn't offend me if you said you didn't like it.
Honestly, like I follow the women that have finished potential, and they're in there to hurt themselves. Or not themselves. They're in there to hurt their opponents, and they have the ability to do it. And I think that there's a lot of women in MMA that are just extremely good warriors and fighters and dangerous and exciting. And then maybe there's some that, like, I think what is being criticized is sometimes there's two of them in there that don't seem like they can really hurt each other. And it just is less interesting to watch. I don't necessarily know. I'm a full-time coach, so I'm studying all of it. I study fights. I watch fights as a fan, but I mostly study fights when I'm watching them. And I think women's MMA is awesome. I think that women doing martial arts is extremely empowering to them. And like as a martial arts teacher, I love to encourage women to do martial arts and do jiu-jitsu and MMA, and I've seen high school level girls that I've trained for, or high school age girls that I've trained for like 2 years, and they're like blue belt level in jiu-jitsu, and then a high school boy that's bigger and more physical than them joins the class, but he's a white belt, and then for the first time the girl rolls with a guy like this, he tries to win, and she takes him down, positions him, and strangles him, and I've seen the transformation on their face. I've seen how empowering that is to them, and so I think that martial arts is for everybody. But I didn't see what he said.
Perfect answer. Thank you.
Who do you think would win a fight between a kangaroo and a gorilla?
Are we talking a full-size 12-foot room?
We're talking the biggest kangaroo in the building, in the world.
Honestly, I kind of think the kangaroo might seem meaner, and the kicking potential, I think the gorilla might come in a little, not cautious, and re-hits that double teeth kick, bounce off the tail and breaks the gorilla's ribs. That's how I see it going.
It's all about leverage.
Yes, sir.
Hi, thank you for